Fun dad fact number 9, and this one's a doozy, folks. Did you know that dad is spelled the same way both forward and backwards? That is called a palindrome. I'm Matt Howes, and this is Shits and Giggles, a podcast for dads. Hey there, winners. Welcome back to another fun-filled episode of Shits and Giggles, a podcast for dads. I am Matt Howes. I am your fearless leader, and I want to thank every new listener that we have because we have had a record amount of downloads since I released the previous episode. So I want to give a big shout-out to all you new winners out there, and I really appreciate all the listeners, and I hope you're enjoying it. Again, don't forget to leave a review. It helps us get found on iTunes. Sometimes people have trouble finding us. I pretty much tell everybody how to do it. Shits and Giggles, and you have to have the goddamn asterisk, but whatever. Hopefully, the more out there we get, the more likely we'll show up for just searching Shits and Giggles. So keep it up, guys. I appreciate it. I'm really blown away. Lots and lots of downloads, guys. I guess super duper. But let's just kick it off with our favorite segment, just giving you a little bit of Dad Advice. Today's Dad Advice is actually something I tell almost every single person who's about to have a kid. If you want to save a lot of money early on, instead of buying changing table covers like for the pad, just buy a multi-pack of cheap pillowcases. When Penny was born, she soiled on the regular 4 or 5 times a day. And for a cheap pillowcase, you can toss that in the bin. Don't have to worry about it. If you have nicer covers, and I doubt you have 30 or 40 of them, you are going to really regret buying them, honestly, because you're going to get completely trashed. They'll pee. They do this wonderful thing where, oh, look, the diaper strip is blue. The indicator strip is blue, so I'm going to go change the diaper. Well, guess what? The second you open that diaper and air hits their little areas, they start to pee again. Now, boys, it's a bit more of a fountain effect. Girls, it's a little different, but it still soils the thing. You can't leave it on there. So cheap pillowcases for the first few months until they start getting a little bit better and you get a little bit better at changing diapers. That's today's Dad Advice. All right, guys. Had a few people over for the wife's birthday this week. This weekend we celebrated my wife's birthday. Her birthday was last weekend. And I used to be a partier, guys. You know, I used to be able to stay up till 4, hang out with the guys, drink them down. Well, I thought we went to bed relatively late that night, and I was wrong. We went to bed at 9:45, and the party ended at 9:30. It started at 6:30, and I was a wreck. I was not dangerous around my child. I had a few drinks, but my tolerance is down, folks, and my sleep tolerance is down. I needed to sleep more. Now I'm sleeping. We're going to bed at 9 every night now because it's easy. We go down with her when she goes, and I guess she's been sleeping through the night relatively well. But boy, I used to be able to line them up, and I had all the guys were over, and of course, I'm sure they all went over to someone else's house to continue enjoying their evening, where mom and dad decided to go to bed. It's different, They do tell you, they say parenthood is different. And they're right. Yeah, more priority-wise, I'm more on schedule with my daughter. And it is just, it's embarrassing, kind of, because we used to go out to the clubs, not the clubs, but we go see, like, punk rock shows and hanging out till late, and now we are just going to bed. And I'm not embarrassed. I'm so happy to have my kid, but it's different. Be prepared. Like the Lion King, be prepared. And it's just something you're going to get used to. And it's normal. Like, I would never in my life have thought that I would be like, all right, guys, 9:30, time to go. We'd hang out till late. That's what we do. We had nothing else going on. Now it's like, I mean, it's not like I kicked anybody out. The party just came to a natural stop, I think, because everybody could see I was staring at the baby monitor. I had her in the other room, and I was probably drifting off. We were safe. We weren't having a crazy binge drinking party time. I already had a couple libations, it was the wife's birthday. We had the option to give Penny to our mother-in-law, but I realized that it's weird. So here's the thing. Now I feel weird when I don't have Penny around, so my wife's taking her to work with her for the time being until we get our daycare situation figured out. And when I sleep in for another hour before I go to work, like, I don't feel weird at work because I've been going to work. But when I'm home and I don't have my baby, I'm actually kind of like, oh shit, where's the baby? Okay. Oh shit, where's she? Oh, that's right, she's with mom. And it's just, it's weird. Like, it's my kid. I'm glad I'm noticing she's not there. But I don't want to be without her. So we decided to keep her here with us, and she had a blast. She loves seeing people. She loves hanging out. But yeah, she partied hard, and then we all crashed and woke up the next morning, and I don't think I've felt a hangover like that in quite a while, but we all recovered. And again, did not go to excess, just don't have the tolerance anymore. And it's just the new normal, boy howdy. On a darker note, well, a lighter note, I suppose, I want to let everybody know I had a cancer scare this week. I had gotten an endoscopy, as I told you before. I've had chronic reflux since I was like 12, and the original pathology came back, and it says that they said they might have found 2 centimeters of Barrett's esophagus. It's a precancer, kind of the stage 0 kind of thing. And they call me, oh geez, they call me at they close at 5. I get a phone call from no caller ID at 4:58, and I call them back, and it goes to their voicemail saying, we'll call you back during regular business hours. So I leave a message saying, hey, I just got a call. Can you please call me back? And, I'm waiting to hear someone tell me I don't have cancer. And this 5 years ago, I got an endoscopy, and I didn't hear back from them for like a month. And I called them, and I said, oh, we'll send you something in the mail. And I said, can you do me a favor and just tell me if I have cancer or not? Because I was worried. I was the Walking Dead 5 years ago, because I literally thought, I'm like, oh, that's it. This could be it. But this time was different because I have a daughter. I'm married. I have a wife now. And it's scarier. I really was. My wife was really helpful that night because I was a wreck. I was very worried. We do our bells at church, and we do the choir on Thursdays. And it was the Thursday that I found out about this, and I'd hear back from them until Friday morning at 9. I'm calling them, of course I did. But it really hit me like a wave right when we were there, and I just got all kinds of stressed out. And I don't really internalize a whole lot of things, but this one I also very rarely go be like, okay, hey, I'm not feeling great about this situation. I kind of just pour through it on my own regularly, but I was very scared because I don't want to leave my daughter. She deserves to grow up with a father, and it just sucks because you call me at 4:58 from no caller ID. Like, what kind of horse shit is that? I'm sorry. And it says no caller ID. It's like the call no caller ID that's basically scam likely, and I'm like, oh, who the fuck answers the phone for no caller ID? And of course, they waited till the last possible minute to call me. And it was really scary. Just think, I really, really have the whole next day. I had a lot of decompressing to do, and I had to lean on Sarah a lot more because I was mentally taking my inventory when I found out, of course, there's no Barrett's, everything came back negative, and I'm good to go. But it was a real scary time for me, and it's very relevant because it's all to do with Penny. Losing, the thought of not being around for her is one of the most terrifying things that I can think of. And, it put a little bit into perspective for me where I really need to start getting my shit together health-wise. I got to start eating better. Maybe I probably got to stop drinking for a while. I don't drink to excess, but it's probably not good with this esophagus thing. And I'm now going to be getting regular endoscopies, and I go to the doctor all the time. I'm not one not to go to the doctor, but it's just very scary to know that you might not be around for your kid. And especially, I used to smoke. If I got lung cancer, I did that to myself. This was just chronic. My doctors refused to put me on a PPI, I use omeprazole. It's like Prilosec. They refused to prescribe me one, so I buy it from the store. But the store costs like $30 for a week. At my insurance, it's like $8. So, for years I was just buying it when I could afford it, because there was a long time when I moved to California where I was very skint. Very skint. I did not have a lot of money, and unfortunately, I was living off Tums because you could buy a pack of those, which is also bad. It's just everything has its own negatives to it, but. Yeah, my doctors wouldn't prescribe. I love my new doctor, by the way. I just like I love my kid's pediatrician. My doctor listens to me. I had some moles on my back I didn't like, and he literally goes, "Oh, I'll just cut those off for you right now." In the doctor's office. Like, I didn't have to go to a dermatologist. He just zapped them right off my back, and I've had those for years. I'm stoked. Dude was like, and I haven't gotten a bill. That was covered. He was just like, "Yep, I'll cover it. Send it out." Well, he sent it out for lab work, and I haven't heard anything about that, but he said there was nothing to worry about with those. But just to be safe, send it all for lab work. Everything's scarier now. It's terrifying. Parents out there, you understand, think about it. My number one priority in life is to make sure that she's safe, and how am I going to do that if I'm dead? So take advice from me. Don't let things get so bad where you're afraid you're going to die. Go to the doctors. It's very important. And eat healthier. It sucks, I drive a lot, so I eat a lot of fast food, so I'm going to start packing lunches, and just I want to live as long as I possibly can. I want to be there for every event in Penny's life, and I'm just saying, it gave me a little perspective. If any of you out there have ever had a cancer scare or any kind of near-death experience, it's terrifying, and now it's amplified. It's exponentially more terrifying now that I have a wife and a daughter that I would be leaving in the lurch. I'm looking into life insurance policies, things I didn't think about before. Just stuff that you don't think, oh, well, I don't need to do that till I'm old. And then you realize, 32, I'm not young anymore. Some of us, we were talking, I was out to dinner with the fam, Bam, and my sister-in-law and I were talking about the fact that we look at kids that are 18 now like they're 12 years old. Like they're in college, they're drinking age, and they look so young. And I think it's because mentally we still picture ourselves that old. It's like, so, we're 30, we're in our 30s now, but we're still kind of thinking we're not in the oldster range. So, it's kind of weird. It's a new, just a little bit of an insight, maybe. You're not as young as you think you are. And if you are young, bully, but you need to think about your future. You need, let me give you a dad conversation. You need to think about your future, young man. You need to think about what you're doing with your life. And honestly, here I am. I'm the dad giving the dad advice. Scary stuff, guys. Go to the doctor. As far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, the ACA, you get one free physical a year, and anything that goes with that physical, blood work, ultrasounds, blah, 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 it's all covered under that free umbrella. Say what you will about it, but I'll take a free physical, and I'll take anyone who doesn't have health care to be able to at least get a screening to know what's going on. Because it's scary, man. It really is. So I'm glad that I'm still going to be around to talk to you week to week. So that's a good thing, but... I'll move on to something else I wanted to talk about. Thank you all. I'm sure you're all thoughts and prayers. I know. Thank you. But moving on. We are going. We're traveling. We're jet setting over the next year or so. We have some places we're going, and I am not interested in traveling with a baby. First trip, we're going up to Reading to see my wife's grandparents, I think, for Thanksgiving. I think that's what the plan is going to be. And I know it's an 8-hour drive. So that's going to be fun with a baby. At least that's just with the family. We'll all pile into my mother-in-law's really nice new car that she got, by the way. It has one of those cool things that when you open the door, the light, the logo shines down on a light at nighttime. Pretty dope, if you ask me, but notwithstanding, that's not what I'm talking about. But yeah, we're going to be traveling long periods of time. I mean, I drive a lot with her when I take her to work with me. She's in the car a lot. Well, it's a lot of stops. It's a lot of stop and go traffic. I could understand the frustration, but just 8 hours and, it's 8 hours there, 8 hours back. It's not just driving around and we're home. It's we're at our destination when we still have to go back. Pack enough diapers, pack enough this, enough food, blah, blah, blah. And I don't want to travel with the baby. I do want to travel with my baby. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to have all the problems that go along with traveling with the baby. Screaming kid, she could get car sick, and that's just the first trip. Then we're in February, we're flying to Boston because we had our pastor gave us tickets, not gave us tickets, but there was like a buy one, get one for tax thing if you're going from California to the other coast. And so, yeah, sure. And while my wife is in her 15th hour of painful, awful labor that I've talked about before. And me and my mother and father-in-law were just sitting there booking a ticket. I'm like, honey, she's in so much pain. Honey, is February the beginning, the first week? Is that good for you? It had to be in February. It had to be. So it was all this stuff, and it had to be used that day. So this, I wasn't being insensitive, but I said, hey, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. And we're flying to Boston. I don't want to be a guy with a kid on a plane. She'll be a little older now, but still, she'll sit on my lap. But crying baby on a plane, being that asshole, and it's not her fault, and it's not our fault. We got to go places, but, I made a point to my wife. I was like, I don't want to travel anywhere for 2 years. I don't want to fly. Of course, it's really not a thing I can do because we got to see my family. My father hasn't met Penny yet, so it's very important to get back there for her. I want to see my mom again. All my aunts and uncles are obsessed with Penny, so they got to see her. And I almost want to be like, you guys could feel free to finance this trip. That'd be great. If you're listening out there in Radio Land, feel free to send money to Shits and Giggles. No, we're good. So yeah, that's to Boston. That's a 6-hour flight there and back, and you're stuck on the plane. You can't turn around. There's no getting off. I know you know this, but this is my newest thing, is we're going to be traveling with a baby, and that scares me a little bit, but mostly I don't want to irritate other people. I'm hypersensitive to other people, really. I kind of try to not make waves if I can afford. I don't want to get in somebody's personal bubble. You know what I mean? And I don't mean that in a PC kind of way. I just mean if I can avoid upsetting someone haphazardly, happenstance-wise, that's great for me. And then next year, we're going to Hawaii with the family, and that's going to be great. I've never been. It's going to be awesome. That's a 6-hour flight. That's another 6-hour flight. She'll be older then. She'll be September, so it's going to be she'll be over a year old, and she might be close to those terrible twos. I just hope she's been so mellow. She's constantly being told how mellow she is. And I'm scared that this is just now. And for instance, she's asleep right now. I got her to go to sleep as usual, but she could wake up and then hijack this whole podcast as she has done in the past. But yeah, I am kind of banking on her remaining this mellow, because if she can just chill, she likes to be held. She's very unbothered by a lot of things. Noises don't bother her. I've told you, she gets terrified sometimes when you make a noise while she's eating. But I guess if you bothered me while I was eating, and it's one of the 3 things I know how to do right now, that would kind of, that would damage my calm a little bit. But, yeah, traveling with a kid. Send me your thoughts. Send me any ideas or maybe some tips, some strategies for traveling, road trips, and plane trips. Whatever you can get. Feel free. You got the email, you got the Twitter. Hey, call me up. I got the hotline. It's at the end of every episode. I'll tell you what the hotline is. And feel free to leave a message. Call me. It's fun times. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. Oh, I got a few comments, really, about these dad groups and mom groups. I've noticed a substantial difference in my wife's groups. than my dad groups. It's kind of weird. Like, I love my dad with daughters. I'm a father. The dad hangouts, this new one that I'm in, which is a really cool one. That's kind of mellow. It doesn't get because there's 200,000 people in Dads with Daughters. It had a commercial. You're gonna get people who are just in there to stir the pot. Some people throw out a political post, and then everybody got to go this way and that way. But for the most part, when a genuine father asks for advice, they're very, very good about talking. The dad hangout, they're great, and so far it's a smaller group, and it's an invitation. Well, not an invitation, but you got to be approved for it. That's why I kind of like these. You have to go through a bit of a vetting process, but the admins are pretty good about getting rid of stupid people. And the dad, I like this dad hangout. This one is really easy to just put up a question. The guy who made it's like, hey, how's your weekend going? Blah, blah. And I'm in another one for first time fathers and support and stuff like that. Now, the worst thing I think I've seen in my dad's group is people asking for money. It saddens me. I'm never going to send money. I'm sorry. I don't have enough to give around. If I could help you, I would. If I could send you diapers, I would. But sending money to me is like giving money to a homeless person. I'd rather buy him a sandwich. So I know that what they're asking for is what they're getting. A lot of these sound like horse shit. This one guy was like, oh, I need $2,700. My electricity's off and it's getting cold. And I'm like, that's odd. And then everybody's like, can you just show us the bill? If you could show us the bill, people do send money. It's nice. There's a lot of human out there. A lot of really selfless people being like, hey, here's some money. And it's great. I've seen people send people this. I personally, my wife didn't use her breast pump. It was sealed. And I said, anyone want one? And I sent someone a brand new breast pump for free. I didn't ask for anything for it because I just want to pay it. And I hope they pay it forward. They're very nice. I think they listen to the show. So I'm very glad. I hope you're getting some good use out of it. And there's a lot of that. But then there's people who are just like, you're an asshole. And then there's the political posts. Oh, I hate you, snowflakes. You're not the snowflakes. We're the snowflakes. We're the snowflakes. And it's like, okay, whatever. And you do the smart thing. Cruise by those posts. You don't need to feed the beast, if you will. But the moms groups, damn, I've seen some, my wife tells me about, you gotta see some of the stupid shit they talk about in there. But literally, there's the people who will shame you. A lot of people shame other women for the way they're raising their kids. Most of the guys in the dads groups are pretty good about the kids. They're not whatever. The moms groups, it's like because women are psychologically they're crazy with each other. The way that women interact, it's surprising to me that any of them are friends. Ooh, I gotta get my penny. I'll be right back. I said it would happen. I jinxed myself. Here she is next to me. She's enjoying herself. We'll just see if we can keep that done. But yeah, so these women they attack each other for every little thing. If you use brand A, they only support brand B, and people who use brand A are assholes. And if you don't want to vaccinate, or if you want to vaccinate your kids, and it came from some idiot that started this anti-vax move in the first place. So stupid. But they're the ones. You get so many more women's groups are like anti-vax, and I don't know. Maybe they're just with Dr. Google, which is always stupid. But they just. I've seen some really savage tear down, and my wife gets in on it. She's done it. She'll attack, not physically attack someone, but she'll get on somebody, and if they disagree, she will make it known, and that's fine. But I found that there's a lot more savagery in these women groups than there is in the men, and you'd think it'd be the other way around. The only thing that we stupid about is we argue about, politics and little things like that, and then sometimes you'll see a guy who's really creepy, and then people will, tell that guy to go fuck off. But yeah, I've been meaning to talk about dads and mom groups, and just. It's a little weird, it's crazy to see some of the shit that my wife tells me about, and most of the time the guys are just like, hey, what do you think about when you want to teach your daughter to shoot a gun, or how chores, how do you do that, and blah, blah, blah. And then, again, there's peppered in there is some posts that you just ignore, and that's with any group. And the women is just like, if you parent your kid like this, you're a jerk, and I blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, and it's all... You always think of guys as trolls, But I feel like women in these groups just kind of want to hear the sound of their own voice, and they just want to be like, oh, look how angry I made everybody. And yeah, I don't know, not a lot getting done. She hasn't come at me with a lot of like, oh, I learned something interesting. Sometimes she does, but every other day I'm like, oh, one of the dads just talked about this. So, who knows? Who knows? Oh, but I smell that. It's not Penny's diaper you smell. It's everyone's favorite news segment, a good news, dad news. Well, guys, I couldn't find a really good article for this week. I actually have been sick. I don't know if you're hearing my voice, but sick, and then, we had the parties. It's been busy. I had one. I can't find it, but I have been meaning to bring up this movie that I watched recently. So we'll call this Good News Dad Reviews. No production necessary. It's essentially Good News Dad News, but a review for a movie that I watched. It's called Bloodline. And it's not the Netflix show Bloodline, which is actually really good. I suggest that you watch that. It is called Bloodline with the world-famous Sean William Scott, Steve Stifler, Doug Glatt. Of course, my favorite movie is Goon, so Doug Glatt. So listen, this guy, he plays a social worker, okay, at a school. And he's talking to kids about, their parents beat them and abuse them. There's some sexual abuse, some physical abuse. And he essentially goes around murdering these people. So, first off, we've all said that. If you ever hurt my kid, I beat the shit out of you. This guy's a social worker. Basically starts the movie. They have a kid, him and his wife, and they do this anxiety-riddled montage of the cry, feed, pump, blah blah blah, and it's just slow. It's slow images, and then it gets faster and faster with a dun 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 dun, and it shows that he's just not sleeping. He's kind of breaking a little bit, and he goes around and he records these sessions of him being like, so how did it feel when you beat your son, or how did it feel while you were raping your daughter? And it's a dark movie. It is on, I believe we rented it, but it's a dark movie, so don't think it's going to be a happy one. It for sure touches that spot where you're like, I'm rooting for the bad guy because he is killing people who are abusing kids, which I think if there's any unforgivable acts, it is child abuse and it is rape. I think those two things, get the fuck off this planet. I think the death penalty works just fine for you. Everything else, we can figure it out later. But child abuse, you kidding me. So this guy's going around killing a bunch of people who are beating kids. And, I'd take a look at it. It's not, I won't say it was super amazing, but it was entertaining. And again, how would you feel if you found out someone was hurting your kids and then that person, and of course they're like, oh, well, he's not around anymore, I don't know what happened, and slowly throughout the movie people start being like, oh, it's kind of weird, I think the only people we talk to is Sean William Scott's character, and then had a kind of weird twisty ending that I won't spoil for you guys, but yeah, it's a dad movie, that's a dad taking vengeance on, because he himself was, again, a new father. And yeah, it's crazy. So it's just something. I couldn't find a great article, and I wrote that down. We watched that maybe over a month ago, and I just figured that suffered through our good news, dad news, with being bereft of an article this week. We're gonna slide into the DMs of the best segment of all. Where is my penny? Where is my penny at developmentally? Yeah. Well, you guys, not a whole lot from last week, really. She is really grabbing her feet. She is really grabbing a good hold. She will put her feet in the air, grab both of her feet, and she will sit there with this adorable little smile on her face. So I will say that she is getting amazing at doing her little push-up and tummy time. She's very vocal. I'm sure you can hear her. She just loves talking, and she's not upset. She likes to, and she'll just do that for hours. I literally was watching TV with my wife, and we had Penny and the Bouncer, and she literally was just talking to herself, and it was adorable. But I was like, can you please keep it down? I'm trying to watch. We were watching a new show called Evil on CBS All Access. It's good. I suggest it if you have CBS All Access. There she is. You hear her? That's my little girl, and she's getting fussy. So we're going to have to wrap up here very shortly. I will tell you, I finally had some time to play some video games. I've been playing Borderlands 3. I get a few minutes. I play it through, like, on my laptop from my PlayStation, but it's fun. I'm going to be getting my PlayStation Plus back soon, so maybe we can have a dad hangout, or I could do a thing on one of the games. I don't know. But guys, I have to leave. My daughter's getting frustrated. She's looking at me like, Dad, what the fuck? I want to go. I want to hang out. I want to talk to myself. So I will leave you, as I do every week, with my world famous words of wisdom. My kid is better than your kid, and vaccinate your kids or keep them the hell away from mine. I'm Matt Howes, and this has been Shits and Giggles, a podcast for dads. You've just listened to one dad's perspective on parenting. This show is not meant to be an authority on how you should raise your kids. Did you enjoy the show? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share on social media. Leave a review. Anywhere that you can find and download podcasts, you can find Shits and Giggles. Find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at shitsandgigs42 with 2 Gs. Email us at shitsandgigs42@gmail.com. You can find us on YouTube as well by searching for Shits and Giggles, a podcast for dads. Don't forget, you can also call the hotline to leave a quick story about you as a parent at 818-835-2350. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.